Here's a quick look at the interface for Drum Leveler. The center display shows individual drum hits and the height is based on amplitude. When you see a gray hit, it means it hasn't been processed. When it's orange, it's been boosted, and when it's blue, it's been reduced. Unlike a standard compressor which only has a high threshold, Drum Leveler has two, high and low. Any hit whose peak falls between the two thresholds will be processed. The target level line lets you reduce processed beats by a little or a lot. Any beats within the threshold that are above it are cut, and those that are below it are boosted. The knobs underneath let you adjust a number of parameters. The orange compression knob lets you dial in the amount of compression, downward or upward, depending on the location of the target level line in relation to the beat. Settings on the right side of the circular knob control compression amount expressed in percentage. Settings on the left side give you either downward or upward expansion, again dependent on the target level line. Gain range sets the amount of boost or cut that the compression or expansion yields, letting you go from subtle to heavy. Minimum retrigger lets you tell Drum Leveler to ignore transients within a specified duration so that you can keep it from processing particular hits or process multiple hits as one. Hold and recovery let you alter transient response and duration of hits, making it possible to shorten or lengthen. The sidechain filter lets you further refine what's going to be processed by either including or excluding a specific frequency range. You can process in stereo mode, dual mono, or MS. In the latter two, you get two separate views that can have separate settings and then can be viewed together, summed. Dual mono lets you treat the left and right differently. MS lets you treat the middle and sides differently. You can put it into bypass by clicking on the Sound Radix logo on the upper right. The left and right input can be controlled in linked mode, that is, together or separately. Same story with the output levels. So that's the basic GUI of Drum Leveler. Now let's get into some specific examples. Here, we want to lower the hi-hat. As you can see, the hits in the display are all gray, meaning nothing is being processed yet. I can see that the hi-hats are lower in amplitude than the kick and snare, so I can set a threshold that focuses on the hi-hats only. Right now everything is being processed. But now I'll bring the high threshold down until the snare and kick are mostly out of the processing zone. Now by bringing down the target level, I can cut the level of the hi-hat. See how those shorter hits, which are the hi-hats, have turned blue? That means they're being reduced. I could even take the hi-hat out all the way if I wanted, or boost it, or cut it by whatever amount I choose. In this example, I'm going to try to zero in on the kick drum only. In this loop, the kick plays a fast 16th note pattern and is the loudest element, so by setting the threshold high enough to grab only the kick hits, I could process it by itself. See how those kick hits have turned orange? Now I know I've got them in range. Once again, I can use the target level to control cut or boost. Turning the compression control to the left side turns it into an expander, and now it's boosting instead of cutting. In this example, the snare and kick are too close to each other in level to treat individually by just setting the thresholds. So I'll use the sidechain filter to set most of the processing in the mid and high frequencies where the snare is. I turn on the sidechain and use the bandpass setting to include the snare frequencies. And I can use the solo feature to listen to the filtering range. Now I turn it off and reset the threshold to catch the hits. And now I use the target level to reduce the snare. Now I can change the duration of the hits being processed with the recovery knob. And by setting the hold and recovery knobs to short values, I can shorten the transient and duration of the hits. Now I'm lengthening them again. And those are just a few of the things you can do with Radix's new Drum Leveler plugin.